remember, I don't even have any notes, so I don't know where this is going. No one knows what I might say. It could be anything. Hey knitters, welcome to the Knitty McPurly podcast. I am your host, Devin Ventry. You can find me at KnittyMcPurly.com. I am Knitty McPurly on Instagram, and if you want to email me, I am Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. Welcome to the podcast. I'm going to be kind of shooting from the hip today. Don't have any podcast notes. I'm not going to follow my regular podcast formula because I have been dyeing yarn like a crazy fool, you guys. I have been burning the midnight oil. It has been all yarn dyeing all the time. Thank you so much to those of you who shopped my Black Friday sale. I really, really appreciate you choosing my yarn in a world where there's lots of great yarn out there. So just thank you so much for supporting my shop. The sale is still ongoing. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. As I remember, I don't even have any notes, so I don't know where this is going. No one knows what I might say. It could be anything. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I had a great Thanksgiving on Thursday. My parents came over and we had it was a really great Thanksgiving. And then on Friday, we did Friendsgiving with our friends. I've had a really good weekend so far. I hope that you have too. It's cold here. It's like 29 degrees this morning. And my son is out there running a marathon. He's decided that he's going to run a marathon. He's like 7 miles in right now. We'll see. I don't know. When you're 13, you can do pretty much anything you want with no consequences. Like, seriously. I mean, you should see what this boy eats. It's insane. I'm like, how are you eating again? Must be nice to be a 13-year-old boy. Thank you so much for shopping my sale. Couple important announcements about the sale. I have restocked the Sanctum. I don't know how to say that. I'm so Ohioan. I want to say Sanctum, but it sounds a little, Sanctum is a little more elevated. Anyway, it's Latin. The hand balm is back in stock. I have it in both the tins, the 2-ounce tins and the 1/2-ounce sticks. So if you missed it because somehow you guys bought it all again, I really thought I made a lot. I think I dared you last week to buy it all, and then you did. You were like, challenge accepted. Thank you so much. But there's more. So you can go over to the website right now. If you want to pause this and go get it before it sells out, you can go do that. This morning, I was typing up a newsletter, and I spent like an hour, perfecting the wording, getting the newsletter all ready. And then something happened, and it was all deleted. And at that moment, I just walked away from that thing and said, I guess I'm not going to have a newsletter, and I still might rally and send one out. But it might just be this. So not only is the Sanctum Balm back in stock, but also the Knitty McPurly Christmas yarn kits, the yarn sets that I showed you last week in the Frankfurt fingering, in the super vibrant, super wash Frankfurt fingering, and also the new Virginia woolen spun fingering weight have been marked down. And so those are marked down, and you can use the discount code on top of that. So my mom and I were talking on Thanksgiving about the difference in the colors between these two bases. And I was telling her that it's a double whammy for the Frankfurt, because the Frankfurt is both, it's a 75-25 merino nylon, and it's a superwash. So a superwash yarn with no cotton content just takes that dye so vibrantly. Whereas the Virginia woolen spun, being a much woollier, more natural yarn, non-superwash, and it's half cotton, means that it takes the dye just more muted. So this is the Fathom colorway. This is the one I'm using for my son's sweater. And I'll put a little picture here of the progress on that. I've gotten really far, and honestly, I really haven't worked on it very much because the kids have been off school some this week. I haven't been in the car quite as much. And by the end of the day, I'm kind of too tired to knit. So I just kind of sit there until I start to nod off, and then I go to bed. Anyway, all that to say that it takes the yarn in a more muted way, which I love. I love that. fully saturated colors are not what we always want. Sometimes we want something that is just a little more muted, a little more weathered looking. So those are up on the site. They are marked down until they sell out. But if you pick them up today or tomorrow, today being Saturday, my son put Snoopy on my watch. And so now I don't have the date anymore. So like me, a person who really needed the date, I don't even know what the date is. Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday, the 31st. Are there 31 days in November? I'm just not good at dates. Anyway, get it before the sale ends so you can get the markdown price plus the discounted price, and you can pick up some of the hand balm while you're there. I am about 3/4 of the way through the pre-orders. And, again, it's a multi-day process to prep the yarn, dye the yarn, cool the yarn, wash the yarn, dry the yarn. It takes several days to do all of that. But I'm about 3/4 of the way through the dyeing process. I think I have to fill up my yarn cooker probably one more time, and then I will have all that yarn dyed and it will go out to you next week. Let's talk about what I'm wearing, shall we? Because this is one of my all-time favorite knits. This is my Timbo vest. I've got it on with some high-waisted pants. And you can see the hand-dyed quality of the yarn. I like to think of hand-dyed yarn like a handmade mug, right? Does it have these little, so that might be a chip, these little imperfections that make it unique? Yes, but that's what makes it special. Think of just a regular mug that you buy at Walmart versus a handmade mug. They're two totally different things. I think that yarn is kind of like that. Regular machine dyed yarn is nice if you want complete solid color, no variation, which sometimes you do want that. But in a hand dye, you're going to see a lot more variation. Anyway, this is if I get off track, it's a product of a lot of coffee, not a lot of sleep, and no notes at all. Woo! We're just shooting from the hip. So this is the Timbo vest in the Berlin Bulky, which I believe is 100% superwash merino. Pretty sure it is. And this is the Bosque colorway and the Roxette colorway, which I particularly love because I love Roxette. I love orange, and particularly this shade of orange. In my humble opinion, it's the best shade of orange, but I can't wear it. It doesn't look good on me. I don't look good in orange. So if I put it just not at my face, that works out really well. I have kits for this in the shop, which you could get 15% off of if you wanted to go do that. This is a free pattern by Gabriella Calderini, who sounds super Italian. I assume she's probably Italian. I don't know. But the Timbo vest is so much fun to knit, and it's super fun to wear. Although I will say, and I've said this before about this vest, I personally like one that's a little cropped and a little bit more fitted. I wouldn't size up on this pattern because I did make one and I really liked it, but it ended up just makes me feel a little bit frumpy because it's just a little bit bigger. So if you make one that just fits you a little bit better and ends where your pants start or where your narrowest part is, and I'm pretty straight up and down. I don't really have a narrow part, but in the middle, would be probably the narrowest part. And if it ends there, I think it's just a little bit more flattering. Anyway, I love this vest. I always want to wear it. And it's a great combo. Sometimes I'll wear it with a second vest. I'll double vest it. And this is actually kind of nice because it's a little cold here today. But this looks good too, right? Double vest. Might leave this on because I'm a little cold. Okay, so this Monday, December 1st at noon, the 2026 clubs go up. And I hear from people, based on this last club that we did this year, the sock club, I hear from people all year long, how do I get in on the sock club? How do I get in on it? The easiest way to get in on the club is to get in at the beginning because every spot is open. So if you join in on Monday, what you do is you get in and you purchase 1 month, and then you are billed every month on the first of the month. And then you get the yarn every month, either for a year of hats or the blanket club. I have talked about this many, many times on previous podcasts, so I won't go into it too much. I will put the links below if you want to read more about what comes in each kit. So those will go up at noon on Monday, noon Eastern time on Monday. So I will send out a newsletter about that too on Monday, just to remind you, but set an alarm on your phone if you don't want to miss those clubs going up. They're going to be really fun. If you want both clubs, purchase them in the same purchase so that it only charges you shipping one time, and those can go in the same package, and that will save you on shipping. Yeah, that's really exciting. We're really pumped about that. It's you get into the rhythm of doing the sock club every month and you're like, ooh, new clubs. And I've got 2 of them this year. So it's exciting. Big things are happening. All right. I'll just show you. I showed you the picture of my son. There might be a little bit more work on it since then, but this is the Northland sweater for my son. Doesn't really look like much. I did put the sleeve stitches on dental floss because that was what I had. And dental floss is a little bit sharp, so I'm being careful not to put any pressure on it because I don't want it to cut through the stitches. That would be terrible. Yeah. So that's been coming along really well. And right now I'm in the body, which is great because it's just around and around and around with stockinette stitch, which is lovely. I love that. Okay. Like I said, I'm not going to follow my usual format that I do for the podcasts. I just wanted to hop on here because it is Saturday and I love seeing you guys on Saturdays. And, the sale is wrapping up. We've got big things coming on Monday. It's exciting. It's exciting times around here. But I did want to do a little heart-to-heart section here at the very end. So that is the end of the knitting content. I just have a very brief, kind of silly thing I want to talk about, sort of silly thing I want to talk about for the heart-to-heart section. So we'll start that here. Oh, also, thanks to Anne for my South Dakota mug. This is what I do. I say, oh, we're going to do this. Then I remember the other things I want to talk about. This is the mug that started it all. This is what started me on the path to the state mugs, which reminds me that I am now paying sales tax in Ohio because Ohio heard that I was paying sales tax in Michigan and they couldn't let Michigan have something that they didn't have. For those of you not from Ohio or Michigan, there is a rivalry between the two states, as the University of Michigan and Ohio State have a rivalry that has gone on from the dawn of time. I'm also paying sales tax in Illinois, and I do not have an Illinois mug. Illinois, I need you to step up. I need you to send me a mug, okay? Because I don't have one. If I'm paying sales tax in your state, then I need a mug. So here, I'm going to charge you more, and I want you to send me something. I'm kidding, of course. I jest. Anyway. So, as I have talked about before, I had cancer and chemo back in 2020, 2021, and I'm still dealing with the effects of the chemo. I kind of wonder, I don't know, you do what the doctor says because you trust them, and when they say you need chemo, you're like, okay, I don't really know. I know, it makes you sick, but you don't expect like 5 years later to still be dealing with the fallout. As you know, I wear wigs because my hair, at first it came back okay. And I don't know if that was because it was short. But as soon as it got to a certain length, it thinned out so much on the top and it was just breaking off. I don't know. I don't know what that was. I'm blaming it on chemo. I don't know. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is my fingernails. So a lot of people don't know that with chemotherapy, sometimes, not all the time, you can lose your fingernails. And that's essentially what happened to me. And you might go, well, what does that even mean? For me, what that meant was that they basically lifted up. They just lifted off at the time when I was doing the chemo. And so I didn't really know what to do. I just kind of trimmed the back and then I put falsies on. I put fake nails on. I had to sneeze. I think it passed. And I wore those pretty regularly for 5 years. And a couple times, like sometimes during Lent, I would give up fake nails and that was terrible because they just looked awful. And they do. They just look terrible. They're wrinkly and partly it's because I've been wearing fakes, I think, for a while. I don't know, but they just look terrible. And so there's that. There's that aspect of it. There's this aspect of, still dealing with the fallout of a medicine 5 years later. Should we maybe reevaluate this medicine? I don't know. Do the benefits outweigh the costs? I have no idea. Would I do chemo again? Probably not. Unless my life depended on it. Like, I probably wouldn't. Anyway, so I've been trying to I have had them off, the fakes off for a couple weeks. And I'm like, I think maybe I could get them to a point where I could just paint them and they would look okay. Because wearing fake nails is hard when you dye yarn, because even though I wear gloves, it's hard to have fake nails on, even inside the gloves. They're constantly breaking off and popping off, and it's a pain. So I was like, I think I'm kind of done with this for a little bit. So I've been getting, different things to put on there to hopefully kind of make them come back a little bit. So I ordered this one from Amazon. It's called Hard as Hoof. Okay. I don't know if it works. I've been using it a couple days. It smells good. It got good reviews on Amazon. I don't know if it actually works. But my I think it was my husband saw the name of it. He was like, hoof cream. He was like, if you use this, are you going to be like, and so this caught on. It was like a spark in a tinder box. It was like, well, are your teeth going to start to grow? You all of a sudden you're like, why are mom's teeth so big? Anyway, it just became this funny thing. And so this morning I was like, hey, Gigi, pass me my hoof cream. And I hear, I don't know. We're ridiculous over here. We're just so silly. Anyway, this is a truncated podcast, as I promised in that newsletter that I wrote that was deleted by the internet. But anyway, I wanted to stop in and say hi to you, and I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're going to get some knitting in. I do plan on taking off the rest of today and tomorrow, which will be my first days off in a couple of weeks, even on Sunday. I normally take off on Sundays. Last Sunday, I worked all day, which is fine. I'm so grateful to be working. I'm so pleased with it, but I am going to take off a day and a half, and I will be back on Monday, dyeing up your yarn and shipping out your pre-orders. So the sale ends tomorrow. Set an alarm for Monday for the clubs, and I will see you back here next week with what I hope is a full-length podcast. Have a great day, knitters.